Ang bahaging ito ay inihandog ng Excellence Rockdog for your pigeons recovery and Alagang Magaling, Fanciers Enterprises in cooperation with Bio Research.
Yo, welcome back guys. So isa pong mapagpalang araw sa inyong mga kalapatids. Ito po ulit ang gamitin si Kalapatids Pigeon Lord. So kung hindi ka pa po nag-subscribe sa YouTube channel, maaari ka na po mag-subscribe, like, and share para lagi kang updated sa aking ilalabas na upload videos. So ang aking pong topic ngayon ay regarding po sa kung paano mag-train at mag-handle ng inyong mga racing pigeons tamang pamamaraan. The training of a pigeon starts the moment it is weaned and has to be fend for itself. Youngsters are weaned anytime between 21 and 28 days of age. So kung hindi pa sila makakapag-attempt na kumain mga kalapatids during the first day, kapag sila ay inihiwalay na natin sa magulang, therefore mga kalapatids, so mas makabubuti po na kung ihiwalay natin sila ay sa gabi, sa night time po, after they have been fed properly. So hindi na sila magugutom sa susunod na araw. So ang unang lesson po na maaaring ninyong ituro sa kanila ay ang pag-inom ng tubig, mga kalapatids, kung pag-inom nila ng tubig. At malaman nila kung saan sila iinom ng tubig. So this is done on the evening of the first day after they have been weaned or pagkakahiwalay sa magulang. By gently dipping their beaks into the water, sa water dish po nila, o yung pagtubog ng kanilang mukha dun sa tubig. So yan mga kalapatids, ang big po ay yung tuka ng ibon. So yan mga kalapatids, dali lang po, yung ating camera ay galaw. So yan mga kalapatids, so huwag ninyong kukunin ang mga youngsters sa sahig. Hayaan ninyo silang tumayo sa sarili nilang paa. At gagawin niyo lang just holding it over the backs of wings with one hand and dipping it beaks or yung tuka nila sa tubig with the other hand. So medyo papalagpas sila ng konti, pero it will start drinking the moment it realizes that its beak is being dipped into water. So pag yung tuka po nila ay nakatubog na doon sa tubig, malalaman po nila na marirealize po na sila ay inyong pinapainom. So, yan. So mas mainam mga kalapatids na ulitin ang exercise na ito na ginagawa sa susunod na araw. Pero karamihan sa mga kalapatids ay kusa ng pumupunta sa painom ng tubig sa next day. You may also feeding them now and usually place a little food in the hopper so that they can see it. So yung iba sa kanila mga kalapatids ay magmamadaling kumuha ng pagkain and their example will be followed by the others. Never feed just feed youngsters on fine foods such as wheat or other fine seeds. So give only beans and mais. Yung mais po mga kalapatids, yun po. Youngsters get spoiled on fine foods and don't want to eat the other foods later. So this bad habit will only show up when you start exercising. When you start exercising them, since they cannot eat sufficient quantities of their favorite fine seeds to build up the required energy. So ayan mga kapatids, sana po yung naintindihan ang aking mga tinatapik ngayon. So inahalungan ko po ng konting banyaga. So para po kasi nagre-request po kasi yung ibang mga kasamahan ko na foreigner na kung maaari po daw, haluan ko ng konting English. So ayan. What? So at feeding, you will only soon pick out the pigeons that only eat fine seeds by their habit of running around the log without spread of wings and show every sign of being half-starved or very poorly fed. Sa Tagalog po, yung kalahating gutom. So, yan. At ito ang oras na maaari nyo silang gamitan ng whistle. Yung whistle po na inyong ating ginagamit na pantawag sa kanila. Ano? So maski ang pagkalampag na kainan nila ay malalaman nila kung sila ay kakain na kapag sila ay gutom. So they will respond to your call after the second or third day. So hindi nyo sila dapat pakainin ng sobra-sobra. Sa mga fancier, this is a good training in itself kasi malalaman nila ang eksaktong pakain sa kanilang kalapati, mga kalapatids. So yun nga po, kasi malalaman nila ang eksaktong pakain sa kanilang kalapati na makukuha anumang oras. So remember mga kalapatids, that the pigeon who overfeeds his pigeon has no hope of exercising any control over them. In the beginning, I would advise you to hand feed the birds. This means that you should either sit or stand in the log and feed them by putting down their food hand in hand. So tingnan niyo sila habang kumakain, you should only put down a handful at a time and will soon learn to know when they have had enough. So yan mga kalapatids. There are various signs mga kalapatids indicating that this point has been reached. Some fanciers stop feeding when the first or second bird goes for a drink. Experience will help you to recognize when the birds are satisfied. So kailangan doon ka sa fancier na magbibigay sa iyo ng tamang advice. Magbasa kayo ng about sa pigeon raising as you can. But try to form your own opinions about things. Try to avoid chopping and changing. So, after every book on article you have read, or after each visit the previous week, winner. So, yeah mga kapatids, pigeon raising is something that cannot be mastered. In a short time, if you learn nothing else from it, it will teach you to have patience. The most successful fanciers are those who have struggled the most at the beginning and who have made the most mistakes. They have learned from experience and know the answers both to their problems and yours. So ayan mga kalapatids. So yan po ang magiging topic natin ngayon about sa pagte-train po ng mga young birds natin. So mga kalapatids, meron po akong short videos dito na inyong mapapanood. Sana po ay inyong magustuhan at sana po ay mai-apply ninyo sa inyong mga young birds. So yan mga kalapatids, dito po inyong panoorin ang handang video clips para sa inyo. So ganito na lang po mga kalapatids at salamat po sa inyong panonood sa aking YouTube channel. Sa mga subscriber ko po, maraming salamat po sa inyo. So hanggang sa muli po mga kalapatids. Bye-bye po.
A few minutes later.
Yo, welcome back again mga kalapatids. So nalimutan ko nga po pala itong aking mga pa-shoutout. So ito mga pa-shoutout ko ngayon mga kalapatids. Shoutout po kay Mr. Kyle Soronyalo. Shoutout po kay Mr. Dennis M. David from KSA. Shoutout po kay Mr. Michael YouTube. Shoutout po kay Mr. Ocampo Love TV. Shoutout din po kay Ma'am Simple Love. Shoutout po kay Mr. FM Combined Love. So ayan mga kalapatids, yan po ang mga pa-shoutout natin ngayon dito po sa aking YouTube channel. So mga kalapatids, hanggang dito na lang po. Magpapaalam na, galing pa po kasi ako ng panggabi. So ayan, gusto ko lang po na mai-upload yung aking topics ngayon, So para ma-share ko na po agad sa inyo. So mga kalapatids, hanggang dito na lang po. At sana po huwag niyo pong kakalimutan na mag-subscribe sa aking YouTube channel. So salamat po ulit sa aking mga subscriber. Maraming salamat. salamat po sa inyo. At happy flying po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat po. Ito po muli yung likod, si Kalapatids, Pigeon, Love.
A few minutes later. A few minutes later.
A lot of questions about how to teach homing pigeons to come back. Now, if you have seen or you haven't seen, it's a good idea to watch it again. I'm sure it's gonna pop up somewhere. We did a video explaining our coop, how it works, why we did what we did. But today this is more about the birds. So I've got all of our birds boxed up here. And what we're going to start with is a little bit of pigeon identification. These are important things to learn as you're training your pigeons. So I grabbed one guy here. This is a younger bird on the edge that's referred to as squeakers. The reason they're called squeakers is because they squeak. This one is headed, like I said, he's kind of on the edge, but is squeaking a little bit. You move him around. You can probably hear that squeaking now. They just make a squeaking noise. That's an immature bird. Now, this is our trap door up top here. We don't have bobs. I explained why, but the main reason is it's easier for birds to come and go. If you have a big issue with predators, those one-way bobs are gonna kind of let the birds in and keep the birds from flying back out the door. I let ours free come and go when they want, and then every evening we close them up. So a young squeaker like this, we're gonna start by putting them on the platform and letting them go back into the coop. If from this platform they fly around a little bit, that's good too, but put them up here on the platform, show them how to get back in. We've got a couple more in here we'll do the same with. I think. Now, another way to be able to tell maturity of a bird is going to be their beaks. All right, so these birds look very similar in color, and you can tell if you get in here real close, you can tell one's beak is whiter than this portion of their beak is whiter than the other. Anybody that knows what that's called, throw that in the comments below. Show us how much you know about pigeons. But this one, you can see it's almost a duller grayer color. This is a young bird in the squeaker or borderline squeaker category. We're gonna set him up here on the platform. Good job, goes back in the coop. This one is gonna go back in the box. Let me see if I can find a great example here. This one's a lot better. The older the bird is, the more of this will build up on their beak. So that's a little bit of a way to tell aging of your birds. They are doing a little bit of molting this time of year too. Now, the rest of these birds, I'm gonna quick do a sort count here. These birds look good. I'm looking for any other squeakers because we don't want our squeakers to be flying, because we're gonna teach you how we start our homers from flying. Now this is a really old bird. You can see how much extra there is built up here. But that's a great way to age birds. This bird I know is old. I've had this bird for 4 or 5 years, so definitely a mature bird. Throw him back in here. I call all of the birds hims and hers interchangeably because unless you're really paying attention, it is difficult to tell what sex the birds are. When they are dancing around with each other in mating dances and things like that, you can tell. The males typically puff out and make themselves look big and pretty, like in most different animals, and the females are a little bit smaller, more slender built, but for the most part, it's fairly difficult unless you're actually watching them try and woo each other. That box looks good. I also am listening. I don't hear anybody squeaking. So I think we have, oh, I hear a squeaker in here. Come on, where are you at? Not you. This is it. Set you up there. Good job. If you have, I think that is it. So if you guys are looking at starting your coop, you can pick up pigeons from just about anywhere. Your pigeons are going to be, the question you have to ask yourself is, how far do I need these birds to fly? If you're looking within a few hundred yards to a couple miles, you can get pigeons from anywhere. If you need that 10, 15, 20 mile range or further, you're gonna need to get some quality homing pigeons. To find the quality homing pigeons, you're gonna need to look at, there's pigeontalk.net. Those guys are typically into racing and raising different types of pigeons. And then there will be some other forums, but look for somebody that's actually got racing pigeons and racing lines stock to get the better homing instincts. Then put your birds, you can get mature birds, put them in your coop, let them live there. Do not let them fly for at least a month. They're gonna start raising their own young, laying eggs, and when they begin that process, they're going to be calling this area home. Now, when you start that, open the door to your trap door or let them just outside the coop, let them fly around a little bit there and go back in. That's how you're going to start them homing. Let them live there. We're talking a minimum of a month, and then let them start homing locally. When they're comfortable with that, then you're gonna load them up just like these guys. We're gonna throw these guys in the back of the truck here. And we're gonna take them for their big debut. Now, my birds have all homed, but this is exactly what it would look like once your birds in your coop have been around for at least that 2+ month range. All right, we've got these guys stacked up. They were ride safe, we're not going far. We're gonna start this today with just 1 mile. And after they fly that 1 mile, then we'll be able to push that to 2 miles, and then 5 miles, and then 8 to 10 miles. You will probably lose a couple birds when you get into that longer range. You're gonna find the collection of birds that are gonna do a nice job. So, to recap, we wanna make sure we don't have any immature birds. We're gonna make sure any birds that we have lived in the coop and are comfortable homing locally. And then we're gonna start by building distances gradually. Today we're gonna do 1 mile. Come along with me and I'll show you what this looks like. All right, guys, we are 1 mile from the house. Now, this is what it's gonna look like. You open your box. Let's go up the top too. And we're gonna allow these pigeons to fly out. Go home, birds, go home. Now, if you turn around and take a look here, these birds are already circling to our right, coming back up over top. They start this circling process so they can get their bearings. They try and figure out which direction they need to go. And it'll take them a little bit, but after they've done a few homes like this, you can let them go 10 miles, they'll beat you home. So these guys are circling, we're gonna let the next box out. All right, here they go. Good, now they're all getting up here together almost instantly. Cool. So these birds are going to, like I said, circle, fly home. We may lose a couple of these younger birds, or it may take them a little while to get home, but for the most part, they're gonna be V-line pretty quick. All right, and now we've got the third box, and we'll shoo them out as well. Come on, birds. Come on, birds. Got one more. Go, 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 buddy. Go, go, go. Good job. All right, so overhead, we've got everybody circling. They'll end up working together pretty good. And you are gonna lose a few, especially as you get further distances, but the ones that you do retain, they're gonna do a good job for you. So let's head back to the coop and see if we can catch some of these guys on their way home. All right, guys, we've already got a couple birds that have made it back. They beat us home. There will be a few more. We'll step out here in a second and look and see if we can catch a few more of them coming in. But The important things to keep in mind here is we've got plenty of daylight left for them to make it home, especially on these beginning flights. They need some time, as well as we keep nice, clean water for them, plenty of food so that they are comfortable here, ready to come back, and excited about staying here. Now, we've got a couple birds perched up here on top of our little building. They'll do a little bit of that, and then they'll be able to finish and coming in. From a racing standpoint, this isn't ideal because you need to be able to get a little band off of them, but we don't care. We're just bird dog trainers. So as long as they make it back in so we can catch them for tomorrow, we're happy.